Peter Greenberg's live global travel update is presented to you by Colette. Discover the world. Guided travel since 1918.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another Global Travel Update. I promised you last week when we were coming from Southern California that we would be about 10,000 miles away this week, and we are. We are in Maseru, the capital city of Lesotho. As you saw on the screen, one of three kingdoms in Africa. And actually, if you got to figure out where it's located, you'll find out that we're smack dab in the middle of South Africa, a landlocked kingdom that has great history, great people, and great experiences. We're here actually doing one of my one-hour global television specials called The Royal Tour with the King. We'll be shooting here for a few more days. You'll be able to see that this fall on PBS, Amazon, Apple TV, and YouTube. But let's go to the news because there's so much of it. We'll start, of course, with the Iran conflict. If you would like to call it a war, be my guest. And what the impact is on everybody's travel, everybody's cost of travel, everybody's choices of travel, not to mention what it's going to look like for this summer for those of you who want to still make plans. So let's start. It's one thing to say that it's costing the United States government $1 billion a day to prosecute the war. Here's what else it's costing. The travel industry and all the related industries are losing $600 million a day from lost revenue due to flight cancellations, disruptions, not to mention disruptions in the supply chain. Of course, we're going to talk about the price of oil as well, and people canceling future flights based on the worst four-letter word that starts with F when it comes to travel, and that's fear. Jet fuel in just maybe 48 hours went up 80% from $2.60 a gallon to $4 a gallon. That's not sustainable. The airlines are now facing, just based on that price jump alone, an $11 billion fuel bill. And you know where that money's going to come from? You, in the form of 5 to 7% higher ticket prices. And by the way, it's not just limited to airlines. Hotels have been pretty fast in implementing energy surcharges on room rates. So get ready for that. It'll happen again at the fuel pump based on just the price of gasoline, not just the price of Jet A, which is the fuel for airlines. And it's going to continue for quite some time because what's happened is in the immediate aftermath of the attack on Iran, so many Americans just said, that's it, I'm not going anywhere this summer. I'm canceling everything. And we all talked about the airspace reopening. I talked about it last week. Well, it is reopening, but that doesn't necessarily mean a lot of planes are flying. The cancellation rates out of Abu Dhabi and Dubai are anywhere between 70 and 80% right now. And they've been canceling those flights every single day, even though the airspace is open. The airspace is open in Israel. The airspace is open in Jordan. The airspace is open in Egypt. The only place where it's probably not open right now is Bahrain, but it will. But Doha, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, operating. But what are they operating? They're basically operating repatriation flights, which are not connecting to anywhere else in their system, which means if you happen to be in Paris and Qatar Air has a flight going to Doha because they need to get the plane back, maybe you get on. But maybe you don't. We did some checking. Every single plane in this region, not just where I am in Africa, but in the region around the Gulf, the Middle East, and Europe, heading to places like the United States, is overbooked or canceled. Overbooked or canceled. And the airfares now are out of control. An airfare from, let's say, Johannesburg to Los Angeles on Turkish Airlines, which was a bargain a couple of weeks ago, is now well over $1,800 in coach because everybody wants to fly through Istanbul since a lot of the other airspace is closed. If you wanted to fly from Johannesburg to LA on Etihad or Emirates, it's a $600 ticket. Sounds great until you find out they're booking the flights. They're just canceling them, meaning the airlines. So it's a real crapshoot which will continue at least for the next 2 weeks. And the reason for that is nothing to do with airspace, but the Straits of Hormuz, which are continuing to be closed. There are no Navy escorts, despite what you may have heard. No ships are being escorted through. It's a pretty fluid situation. And with that supply chain cut off, now you're dealing with so many items that we've come to take for granted on our shelves in our stores that are not coming through. So we're going to be watching that as well. And at the same time, we still have the residual partial government shutdown going on, right? With the DHS being targeted. And that's why Congress has not reauthorized the funding for it, based on things they didn't like with ICE and a few other things that come under DHS. So what did the DHS announce 2 weeks ago on a Saturday night? They were going to suspend TSA PreCheck and cancel global entry. And they claimed staffing issues. There were no staffing issues 2 weeks ago. Everybody was still on the job. They just wanted to use that for pressure to get Congress to reauthorize the funding again. Well, that didn't work so well. Within a day, they walked it back on PreCheck. And a couple of days ago, they finally reauthorized the opening of global entry. However, this is a week where the TSA workers are not getting paid and they're not going to even get a partial paycheck. A lot of people calling in sick, a lot of people resigning, outright resigning. And the lines are getting longer and longer and longer at major U.S. airports, especially since we're right in the middle of what? Spring break. Oh, my goodness. Now, what's going on in Denver, to give you an idea how crazy it is? The airport officials there are encouraging passengers to put money in tip boxes that they're encouraging people to put on the counters of TSA who still works, right? The guys and women who are still working. What does that tell you about the situation? Not good. Now, there's some hope that with the departure of Kristi Noem and the new administrator or the new secretary being appointed by President Trump, still has to be confirmed, that's minutes away, that maybe that will open the door for new negotiations in Congress to refund the DHS operations. We will see. But for the moment, it's a mess out there at the airports. We're talking 2 to 3 hour lines at key gateway airports. Keep that in mind. Okay. Now, last week, when I talked to you, we had some audio difficulties on a story I really wanted to share with you. So I'm going to do it again. I hope you'll bear with me. When we did our show called Hidden Alabama, we also did a show before that where I really walked the civil rights trail with the people who lived it back in the 50s and 60s and 70s. And one of those people in Selma, Alabama, who did the march to Montgomery, but was beaten up on the famous Edmund Pettus Bridge, was a woman named Joanne Bland. And sadly, Joanne Bland passed away about 10 days ago. I was lucky enough and honored enough to have met her, to share her story with the world, to spend time with her. We walked the bridge together back in Selma. And so I just wanted to say that if you haven't had a chance and didn't have a chance to meet her, there's a chance you can still hear her and see her. And I'd like to run this clip from our piece on Alabama, a tribute to Joanne Bland.
Our goal is Montgomery.
600 protesters set out on March 7, 1965, and Joanne Bland was among them as they crossed the Edmund Pettus Bridge.
What was it like that morning on this bridge?
Well, it was quiet, and I couldn't see anything till I crested the bridge. And I looked across, and I saw that the whole street was, all 4 of these lanes up under that traffic light were lined with policemen, state troopers then.
See that they turn around and disperse.
I knew we were not going to Montgomery then when I saw them. Before we could turn to run, it was too late. They came in from both sides, the front and the back, and just started, and they were beating people. We had nowhere to go. They were just everywhere.
The police descended violently on the protesters, including one of the group's leaders, future Congressman John Lewis.
Tear gas canisters being shot into the crowd. Now we can't see, we can't breathe. I panicked. I didn't know what to do.
The march stopped, but images of what came to be known as Bloody Sunday were broadcast across the country, inciting outrage and leading to protests in cities nationwide, and cementing the horrific moments in history.
It was horrible.
And here we are today on that same bridge.
Same bridge. There was a time I couldn't walk across it. it brought back those memories. I can talk about it, and it seems cleansing, like therapy or something, but when you're actually on the bridge, you get a different feeling. I know no one's waiting for me.
So we can go.
Yes.
Well, let's go.
I think I can do it.
Joanne would eventually march across the bridge again in 2015 on the 60th anniversary of Bloody Sunday, arm in arm with President Obama.
There we go. Joanne Bland, a real giant. I'm so happy to have known her, and I'm glad to share that with you now. Moving on, I mentioned the increase in price on so many tickets getting back to the United States as people are still, I'm not going to say stranded, but trying to figure out ways to get home. And that'll be the case for at least the next 2 or 3 weeks as people are trying to figure out if your flight was canceled, will the airline rebook you on another flight? Well, maybe, except there's no space available right now. Those flights are full. And, this is considered force majeure, active war. So your rights under those circumstances are severely diminished. Having said that, it is my contention, based on everything I'm seeing, that when the airspace is fully restored, and they're not just flying in limited 3 or 4 hour chunks of daylight time, there are going to be huge bargains to Europe and everywhere else in the world, because in the immediate aftermath of the Iran attack, so many Americans just canceled their summer plans, traveling overseas. So there's a lot of excess capacity out there, combined with what we talked about a couple of weeks ago, the huge drop in foreign arrivals to the United States based on not the Iran war, but the U.S. government's visa policies and immigration and that. So now we have a double whammy here. We have the reaction from the Iran war, and we have the continuing problems with people not wanting to come to the United States because we're being perceived in so many ways as unwelcoming and inhospitable. And those numbers keep dropping. It's not just down 44% for Canada, it's down 36% for Germany, 34% for Denmark, 19% for the United Kingdom, 15% even from South Korea. This is revenue that'll never be recouped. And it's not $600 million a day, it's more than that. It's around $4 to $6 billion. So we're going to be tracking that as well. But when those prices come down, and they will, excess capacity, don't say I didn't tell you so, and you can act quickly and secure some decent price tickets for the summer, which never really are. This summer, I think, will be the exception. Now, every week I try to make you laugh with a video. You saw the ones with Keegan and Peele, which still was one of my all-time favorites of the check-in counter at the airport. Well, the folks up in Canada decided to do their version of a horrendous check-in experience. Run the video.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Air Canada Flight 517 with service to Orlando. We'll start boarding for anyone who needs a little extra time getting on the plane, or for liars who'd like to fake a limp so they can board early. We'll continue boarding Zone 1, aka the people who will stare at you with pity as you walk back to coach. Now we'll board the very attractive folks in Zone 2 and Zone 3. Zone 5?
Yeah. How'd you know?
I can smell it. You can sit on down. Zone 5, it'll be a while. Folks, we've got a full flight today, so carry-on space is limited. If you'd like to check your bag, we're happy to do so free of charge.
Oh, I could do that.
Not you, Zone 5. You're lucky we even let you have a bag. And let me guess what's in it. Loose hair and DVDs?
No.
We'll now start boarding Zone 4, who also suck, but not as much as Zone 5. So please feel free to spit on them while you walk on by.
Zone 5 filth.
Well, looks like everyone from Zone 4 has boarded, so we finally come to that time. We'd now like to invite anyone carrying weapons they've managed to get through security to board. Always a pleasure. Followed by passengers traveling in Zone 6.
What the hell is Zone 6?
Oh, we made it up just to skip you. We can't stress it enough how little we appreciate your business, Zone 5.
Hi, I'm Zone 6.
Oh, I think you forgot something.
Oh, my bad. You're right.
Oh,
Scum.
are you serious?
Yeah.
Atta girl. Well, it's your lucky day, Zone 5. We've got one seat left.
Wait! We can't fit this guy under the plane. Careful. He's foaming at the mouth.
Oh, I'm sorry, Zone 5. That was our last seat.
So I'm lower than a rabid dog?
And thank you for flying Air Canada.
Oh, what the?
Sorry. I'm still laughing. Okay. I try to give you these every week, so bear with me. There's a lot of truth and humor. Just saying. All right. Let's scroll down and say hello to a couple people here. Let me just do that right now. Okay, Linda's saying hi from Naples as our flights to Dubai were canceled for next week. What I've been trying to tell you guys. We're on to plan B, Istanbul, Budapest, Paris, and Monaco. Still not bad. You know what? I wholeheartedly agree. She also writes, quick follow-up, any advice for getting money back for pre-purchased tickets, specifically at the top in Dubai and the Gem in Egypt? Our onward flight to Dubai to Cairo was also canceled by Egypt Air. Well, this is a problem that a lot of people are having when they're booking individual hotel rooms as part of their originally planned trip, or individual restaurant reservations that require money in advance, or individual excursions or attractions. You need to make a phone call. You can't do that one online. Talk to their customer service people, assuming they do have customer service. Explain the situation that your flight was canceled. At least get a credit that you can use for a ticket going forward. I doubt very much they're going to give you a refund because most of these institutions pride themselves on saying that what you're booking is non-refundable. But it doesn't mean they won't be give you a courtesy credit, which I think they should do. All right, let's keep scrolling down. Jim and Harriet from Richmond. Nice to see you again. Sue saying hi from Bellingham. Mr. Cooney is saying greetings from the Royal Princess in the Pacific. I saw a couple of your posts on Facebook. Nice to see you, Patrick. Tim saying greetings from Piedmont Park in Atlanta. I read that airlines are now testing automated bag scanners at the gate that measure your bag in seconds. Is this true? They've developed them. I have not seen them implemented yet. We'll check on that and let you know. Wouldn't surprise me. And then Tim says, why do companies sell their inventory to wholesale websites that sell to us at a cheaper rate? Hotels, cruises, etc. It goes back down to what we call ticket dumping. This goes back 45 years ago when every airline had to file their published rates with IATA, right? The International Air Transport Association, and ARC. It was like an airline clearinghouse that would distribute money based on what airlines you flew back to the airlines. Okay. So they had 3 published fares back then, right? First, Coach, and for those of us who remember, Night Coach. And yet, a lot of airlines wanted to dump tickets to fill the plane, but they couldn't do it legally. So what they would do is they would go through consolidators, right? And the consolidator would say to you, I'll give you an example. I was in Bangkok, wanted to go to Hong Kong, and the consolidator said to me, hey, you go for $100. Now, when I wanted to do that, Cathay Pacific was selling tickets for $400. Seems like a deal. I said, okay. I paid them $100. They gave me a ticket back on Air India that was actually going from Bangkok to Hong Kong, and it showed $578. I didn't pay $578. I paid $100. But in the file with ARC and IATA, looks like they were playing by the rules. Now, it was a heavily restricted ticket, non-endorsable, non-refundable, no change of planes, no change of dates, no change of cities, use it or lose it. That's how they played the game. To this day, they're still playing that game. Every time you see ads on the internet about cheaper business class tickets, I'm just waving a little bitty red flag saying, if you don't have any flexibility in your schedule or there's a disruption in the schedule, you may be out the money, because that so-called discounted business class ticket may only be good on that plane, on that flight, on that date. No ifs, ands, or buts. And if for any reason the plane doesn't operate, or you don't operate, or the airport doesn't operate, you're out the money. So just be careful about that. Okay. But what the airlines are doing with ticket dumping, just to finish this thought, was they were the Claude Rains character in Casablanca, shocked to find out there was gambling going on at Rick's Casino, but then collecting their winnings from the night before. That's what we're dealing with. And we're still dealing with it to this day. All right, moving on. Gene saying hi from Tulsa. Scott saying hello from the literal windy city of Chicago, 30-mile-per-hour winds. Camilla saying hi from Tucson. Lindy saying greetings from, but you didn't tell me where. Luis says greetings from Mexico. Lorena saying greetings from, it's winter again in Lansing, Michigan. All right. Randy saying hello, Peter from Ann Arbor, speaking of Michigan, but just back from beautiful and hot Aruba. Tim says, Who is Colette, who sponsors Global Travel Update? You never say anything about them. Well, that's not necessarily true. They've been on our radio show before, talking about trends in travel. They happen to be America's oldest and biggest family-owned tour operator. They're based in Rhode Island. I happen to think they do a great job. And they've got a wide-ranging portfolio of places where they go based on your own level of physical activity, your own interests, your affinities, and of course, your budget. So we're happy to have them as one of our sponsors. Now you know. Phyllis says, hi from the Keystone State. All right. And have I heard that at UMass, they built a rotunda that simulates a traffic control center where students can learn how to become air traffic controllers. They're trying to get accreditation from the FAA. Well, good luck with the FAA, but I love the idea that they're doing it. We need more qualified, well-trained air traffic controllers, and we needed them 7 years ago. So the demand is still there for those jobs to be filled. All right, Colleen is saying, am I traveling with the king of Lesotho for my TV special? As a matter of fact, I am. In fact, I was with him earlier today, and we'll be with him for the next 5 days. For those of you who don't know about our shows, the Royal Tour, we've been doing it now for 25 years. I go to individual sitting heads of state, kings, presidents, prime ministers, or sheikhs, and I get for them the impossible. I actually get them to give me 8 days of their schedule completely unencumbered, only devoted to me. And then for the next 8 days, they become my tour guide to and through their country. They have no right of editorial control or permission or review. Whatever happens, happens. Imagine 2 people on a road trip. One of them just happens to run the country. So stay tuned for the next one, which will be Lesotho, the Royal Tour. But if you go to Amazon, you can see almost all of them, ranging from the Royal Tour of Jordan, the Royal Tour of Mexico, the Royal Tour of Israel, the Royal Tour of Ecuador, Peru, Tanzania, Rwanda, and many more. So I hope you get a chance to do that. Okay. Max says, we didn't get a chance to talk to you at the Travel Adventure Show in LA. I don't know why. I was meeting everybody after the show. So sorry I missed you. However, you give me the perfect opportunity to tell you where I'm going to be next week. Not this weekend, but next weekend I'll be doing the Bay Area in Santa Clara. That's on March 20th and 21st. Excuse me, on March 21st and 22nd. That's a week from tomorrow and a week from Sunday in Santa Clara at the Convention Center. I hope you'll get a chance to come and see me. And of course, I'm happy to talk to everybody. So please do that. Okay. Interesting. Lorena says, I volunteered to work at our airport for an upcoming TSA pre-check sign-up. Almost all the appointments are booked as everyone wants pre-check. Yeah, well, why not? Okay. Joy's saying, should I book airfare now through Google Flights going to Miami June 15th, or should I wait to April? Well, June 15th, the last time I looked, is not high season in Miami. You might want to wait a little bit. However, if you do book it on Google Flights now, and the fare goes down considerably, you can then cancel that flight, get an immediate credit for the amount that you paid for the ticket, then buy a newer, cheaper ticket with the credit you have, and use that residual credit for the next year for another flight. That would be my advice. Okay. Lindy says, greetings from Ventura. I'm concerned about Japan trip in December. Would you like to tell me why? Let me know. Our good friend Charlie Winham. My goodness. From Baton Rouge. He was commenting on the video about Joanne Bland. Thank you, Charlie. I appreciate that. Okay. Here we go. Note to self, don't board with Zone 5. By the way, if you're on boarding Zone 5, 6, 7, or 8, you know what the answer is. You're in the witness relocation program or you're a fugitive from justice. We all know. Okay. Well, thank you, Soul City, or whoever that was who said that. I appreciate that. Our good friend John Lample, who travels more than I do, is saying greetings from Marrakesh. I happen to know for a fact you're at La Mamounia, one of the all-time great hotels in that city. John and Maria, have a great time. Many saying greetings from Perdido Key, Florida. I booked a short flight from Orlando to Pensacola on Breeze Air. Today received an email offering to buy back my ticket. They're overbooked. By the way, Breeze is doing a good job. So enjoy the flight. Okay. Tim says, is it safe to buy from consolidators? Well, I'm going to give you a qualified yes. If you use a credit card, if the ticket doesn't leave more than 60 days from when you want to buy it, and you understand the restrictions that you're going to get with a consolidator ticket, right? It's only good on that airline, on that flight, on that date, between the city pairs on the ticket. It has no cash value if you don't use it. Okay? If you understand those rules and want to play by those rules, then go for it. All right, Kim's saying, if I already booked a Delta flight to Sardinia for the end of August, if it goes less than what I paid for, do I get a credit or am I out of luck? I think I just answered that. If you, first of all, who did you buy the ticket with? With a U.S. airline? Then you can play the game I told you about. If the flight ticket goes down in value, you can cancel that flight, rebook it at the lower fare. When you cancel the flight, you get a credit for the amount that you paid for the original ticket. Cancel it for a lower fare, you'll get a residual credit that you can apply for something else. But keep in mind, if you're going to Sardinia for the end of August, I don't think there are going to be a lot of empty seats. So just keep that in mind. All right. Pamela's saying greetings from the Sky Princess. And greetings from Uganda in East Africa, not too far from where I am in South Africa. All right, we appreciate that. Louise is saying, having a trip to Europe in 2 weeks to Scandinavian countries, should I be concerned about any travel disruption? Well, you didn't tell me how you were flying there. Are you flying on SAS or any other Scandinavian carriers? You probably won't have a problem. Are you connecting to a city that might be a problem? Then you might have a problem. Let me know. All right. Oh, you want to know the state of TSA PreCheck and global entry? PreCheck is open. Global entry has been restored. But that doesn't mean there won't be long lines at PreCheck. There should never be long lines at global entry because of the way the system's designed, which is why when the DHS said they were ending it a couple of weeks ago based on staffing issues, you knew that was a lie, a total lie. There is no staffing issue on global entry. You get to the kiosk, it reads your face biometrically, it matches it to the information it already has on file. It says, go to see the agent. There's an agent there who goes, "Are you Peter? Great, welcome back." That's it, one guy or one woman. So telling me there's a staffing issue is really not the case. Okay, someone wants to know what's my preference on travel insurance vendors, specifically cancel for any reason insurance. Well, I'm not a fan of cancel for any reason insurance. First of all, the premium is humongous. And second of all, when you cancel for any reason, you might get back 50% of your investment. That doesn't seem like a good idea. It's a loser. It's a total loser. So I could talk about travel insurance all day long, and I usually do on this show, and I'll do it again next week. But in terms of cancel for any reason, otherwise known as CFAR, tread lightly because, that's like saying you just bought an insurance policy. So you could say, just because, well, there's a penalty you're going to pay for that. And that's 50% of your original investment in the trip itself, not to mention the premium you paid to get that insurance. All right? Think about it. All right. Katrina's saying hi from Alabama. Kim's saying, Delta. If it's I see what that is. That's the answer to the earlier question. If it's Delta, you can play the game. It's a U.S. carrier. And Luis is saying traveling with KLM and Air France should be no problem. You're going through either Amsterdam or Paris, not affected by planes that originate in the U.S. that I know of. Okay. Sandy's saying we're going to Borneo, Lombok, and Java to end in Hong Kong. We need to stop over from either Tokyo or Singapore for 3 days to acclimate to the time zone. We've flown the 19-hour Singapore flight. Congratulations, the longest flight in the world. We are looking to go right after Labor Day in September, which is a better connection to Borneo. Well, there are not many great connections to Borneo, and I don't know who you're buying your tickets from. Which airline are you flying? You didn't tell me. Are you flying Singapore Airlines on this particular itinerary? Then look to see who their marketing partners are in their strategic alliance. That will give you an idea, inclusive even the fare you're going to pay, as to whether or not you can connect on another one of their destinations for very little increase in price. So let me know about that, okay? Okay, now it's time for the photo of the week. And on this one, I have a comment to make. By the way, this is... who wrote this? I'm trying to think who the photographer was. Excuse me 1 second. Howard Berry. There we go. Howard Berry, congratulations. What a great sunset shot of Santorini. Beautiful light, beautiful colors, beautiful composition. Only one problem. I warned you I was going to make a comment. This must have been taken in February because I've never seen it that uncrowded. Santorini is the poster child for over-tourism in Greece. But having said that, You got to wait for the light to have a great photo. Sometimes you have to wait for the great day of the week. You did it. Congratulations. Love the photo. And if you think you got a photo that qualifies as the photo of the week, you know what to do. Just email me, photocontest@petergreenberg.com. And if we agree with you, it goes right up there next to the photo you're seeing now from Santorini. A couple of other items I want to share with you in terms of our updates. Our radio show this week comes from a real gem on the Pacific Coast Highway. It's the Malibu Beach Inn, which thankfully survived the terrible fires there last year. It's still right on the Pacific. You still get to live the California dream. So tune in. We'll have updates on everything from Malibu and the Pacific Palisades to the California dream. And of course, everything that's going on in the world of travel. I'm going to end this now only because we have a 5 a.m. wake-up call tomorrow to get back up in the helicopters with the King. I hope you'll be patient enough to watch in September when we premiere it. And I will see you next week from a location that is truly, again, 10,000 miles away from where we are right now. That'll be a week from today, I believe. So see you next week. Have a great weekend. Think smart when it comes to your travel choices. Do not get embraced or do not embrace fear. Be smart, be practical, basically embrace a commonsensical approach. You'll be so much better off. And I'll see you next week.
Peter Greenberg's live global travel update is presented to you by Colette. Discover the world. Guided travel since 1918.